Hi, everyone. Welcome. I hope you can all see me. So, we're talking about pain today. And this is a topic that is actually really interesting. There's so many aspects to it. And we've got a focus class on this topic coming up next Friday. But I thought it would be really helpful to actually start breaking this open a little bit now, no pun intended, breaking through those cycles of pain, getting more information and awareness about pain, because it's such actually a complex way and mechanism in which our body, our mind, and our physiology adapts to pain that there are many, many people that don't even realize that the things that are happening in their life are because of the effects of pain long term, or the way that their mind or their body has registered something that's happened in the past, how it's created compensatory mechanisms, and how now you don't even realize that the things that you are doing are as a result of pain, or that they can be changed, or that it's possible for you to have a different way of functioning. So pain is this humongous topic. And when I'm talking about pain and this focus class, I wanted to address as much of it as possible, of course. So there's a couple of things that I'm thinking about when I'm talking to you about pain. I'm thinking about acute pain that's happening in your body. So there's a lot of people that I know that live with pain. And sometimes you come to a class, sometimes you have a session, sometimes you've been seeing multiple people, facilitators, practitioners, doctors, you're on medication trying to change this very physical pain that you have had. And then this physical pain that starts off as a sudden or an acute pain suddenly becomes long-term or chronic over a period of time. You don't know how to change it. You don't know why. You haven't been able to figure out what it is that's creating these patterns in your life. And the next thing you know, this pain has actually become something that you're living with long term. And that's when we talk about pain becoming chronic. And chronic pain starts to have more of this physiological as well as mental impact on who we are, how we function, and our ability to live our life to our greatest potential. And then I'm also including in this class, and when I'm talking about pain, I'm also including emotional pain and the effects of emotional pain in your life. And then there's this beautiful crossover that occurs, whether you think it's beautiful or not, where so much of our pain and our compensatory mechanisms around pain are actually created by something that's happened. Either initially we had a physical pain and then it becomes an emotional issue, creating long-term and emotional outcomes in your life, or you actually have an emotional hurt, you have an emotional pain that actually, once you bury it for long enough, you don't look at it, you don't address it, when you suppress something in your body, in your mind, in your energy, our body actually creates a way of that needing to be expressed in some way. And when we are not willing to look at that emotional pain or work through it consciously and cognitively, it will be expressed through our physiology by often having really painful or really inconvenient side effects, because that pain that we're not willing to look at has now become something that our body is expressing. And this is an area that I do a lot of work in. A lot of the work that I do is helping people clear long-term chronic patterns of pain or behavior that's now starting to create an effect in multiple other areas of your life. And this focus class is created to give you a whole lot more information about changing the physical pain in your life, the emotional pain in your life, the long-term ongoing pain in your life, and also the pain that you either haven't been willing or able to understand until now, or the pain you haven't been willing to look at and maybe haven't realized how much power it actually has in your life and over your life. So what I would like to do as well is let you know that you are able to ask questions during this Facebook Live. I'm going to be doing my best to get through all of these questions. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. So if you have questions around what pain even is, because that might seem like the most basic place to start here. But like I said, what pain have you been ignoring in your life and in your body? Maybe you thought it was insignificant at the beginning. Maybe you didn't pay enough attention. Maybe you thought that it would work itself out. What is the pain in your body or in your life that you haven't even acknowledged as being there? I know a lot of people that live in a lot of emotional pain, high levels of emotional pain, high levels of stress. Do you look at the stress in your life as painful? Do you look at the effects that that stress or that anxiety or that not feeling good actually creates in your life? And have you ever considered around, what would be possible, or what are the possibilities around actually changing that situation? Actually becoming or feeling empowered or even pain-free in your life? With this topic, it's always a really interesting conversation for me, because I have very little pain in my body and also in my life. When there is pain, that's information. So that's not a brag to say I don't have pain in my body or in my life. It's I'm now at the point, I've done enough work. I've been doing this work for over 10 years. I now know that if something's really painful, if it's causing me physical or emotional pain, or if it's creating pain in other areas of my life, to look at that and to figure out what's going on, because that is information. And so the very first place to start is, what is this information? What is my body trying to tell me? What is this pain trying to tell me? What is the role of this pain? Why is this pain being created? And perhaps more importantly for some of you, why has this pain been continuing for so long now? I know that there are literally some of you out there that have been living with and dealing with the pain and the side effects of the pain in your body and in your life for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that might sound like, wow, why would someone put up with pain for that long? But that's what I mean, is it becomes this very chronic part of your life. And I think a lot of people forget what it's actually like to live their life without pain. And pain's also normalized so much, right? In society, in our families even. When you have pain, rather than looking at, what is this information? What's my body telling me? What do I need to do here? What's required? What should I change? Instead, we go take a painkiller to stop the pain from talking to us. And then when that pain decides it needs to get louder to get our attention, what do? We take stronger painkillers, or we go back to the doctors. We say, whatever you did isn't working. I need more medicine, more help. You need to do something to fix me, rather than looking at the role of this pain in our life, in our body, and in our physiology. So there's a question here, Imelda's asking how many older people get sick. Yeah, many older people do get sick, Imelda, and I think that's really interesting as well for us to look at. The older we are, the more life we've had, the more years we've had, there's the potential for more unresolved things to be stored in our body and in our energy, and also the more conflict that can exist within ourselves. The more pain, the more hurt, the more unresolved things that we've been carrying around, that again, if we don't look at, then it presents not only as pain, but also long-term pain that does not get looked at becomes dis-ease or disease. you actually then get diagnosed as having a chronic dysfunction or disease. And a lot of older people are very used to, or it's deemed normal and acceptable that the older you are, perhaps the more health issues you have, the more pain you have. Why is that? And how many older people do you know, or do you know any older people that actually are still very fit and very healthy? And what's the difference in their life and their approach to life and in their willingness to look at things and address them, either physically, emotionally, energetically, or through the awareness of what works for them, what contributes to their life, what is a healthy way for them to live and be at all levels of mind, body, spirit, versus the people that have spent years in unideal situations and conflict and pain and worry and stress, whether it's physical stress or emotional stress. You will see their bodies giving them a lot more pain, and you will see them living in and with a lot more pain. So another angle on this topic that I did want to address, both in the class we'll be addressing this, but also today, there's a lot of emotional pain right now in the world. There's a lot of emotional pain when we look around the world. It's actually a tough time right now. It's a tough time in the grand scheme of things. It's tough looking out into the world and seeing what's going on politically, medically, geographically, what's happening. You know, I'm in pain right now watching what's happening in Afghanistan, watching what's happening in many countries around the world. What is the role of that pain? Like when we feel pain, when we experience pain, whether it's emotionally, whether it's psychologically, whether it's physically, what is the role of that? So we can stop when we feel like, oh, I'm in pain, and we can want to stop that pain immediately. Or if we look further, why is this causing me pain, and what can I do about it? And with a lot of the things going on at a greater scale in the world right now, what is the message and what is the possibility that we have? At what point do we start to think, maybe I should do something about this, maybe I can do something about this, maybe I can contribute to changing this in some way? Because when we don't change pain, whether it's physical pain in our bodies and in our lives, or whether it's pain that's being caused by seeing what's happening around us, we're also enabling that pain. We're giving that pain a way to continue, and more importantly, to have control over us and have control in our lives. That pain then becomes something that dictates what we do, what we don't do, how free we feel, or how disempowered we feel. And sometimes it needs, or it takes pain getting to a point, and see if you can recognize this somewhere in your life or not, where it's taken you getting to a point where the pain is unbearable, whether it's physical pain or whether it's emotional pain. Like a relationship finally gets so bad that you say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. This either changes or I'm out. Or physical pain gets so bad that you say, you know what, I just can't keep living on medications and not having choice around this anymore. So I'm going to do what I need to get healthier, or to start exercising, or to seek alternative help until I get to the bottom of this. And with everything that's happening in the world right now, at what point do we become enraged enough or confronted enough by what's happening that we say, you know what, I'm not just going to sit around seeing this pain and feeling this pain. I want to do something to help change this. Change it now, but also change it for the future. Otherwise, we just have generations and generations built on pain. So little bit of a sidetrack, but any questions, comments, or queries, please post them into the chat box below. I've got a couple more minutes so that I can answer your questions in. But this focus class coming up next Friday is designed to deal with or help you with all of this and more. The focus classes, the body whispering focus classes, are always amazing because one of my favorite aspects of it is we look at things cognitively. So at the mind level, we look at it physically and how it's affecting our bodies and change it in our bodies. And we look at it energetically and or spiritually and look at how these patterns, these thoughts, these beliefs have been created at an energetic level, and we clear it and change it at that level as well. And that's how you have the greatest chance of success at changing something, is by becoming fully aware, fully informed, and fully empowered around it at all three levels of mind, body, and energy. And that's what we do with body whispering. That's what we do with our body whispering focus classes. And in the focus class on pain coming up on Friday, we're going to be looking at what pain exists in your life. How did it start? What is the role of this pain, or what information is this pain here to convey to you? What is it trying to get your attention about? Why did it start in the first place? And how has it actually morphed into something very different now, but you still need to deep dive back to that initial concept of the original event, the inception of this pain. What is the role of it? Why does it exist? How can we heal it, clear it, and change it? Not just temporarily, but actually forever. And how do we do that with the physical pain in your life, the emotional pain in your life, the chronic pain in your life, and the acute pain in your life? Because all pain is information. I do believe that. And as I was briefly talking about earlier, when we have this pain morph into a long-term side effect, we can enter into fight or flight mode, or you can, whatever term you may use for it, whether it's burnout, whether it's adrenal fatigue, whether it's chronic fatigue, whether it's living in fight or flight. Sometimes it's fight, flight, or freeze mode. So where has your body's natural ability to observe and be aware of pain happening? Use that information to make a different choice and then proceed with your life. Where has that whole cycle actually become disrupted and morphed into a completely different pattern of chronic pain, or you being unable to change or become empowered around a certain area of your life because you've had it for so long? So when we go into long-term fight or flight response, we cannot heal in that state. Like, healing is created in an environment where we're able to reconcile and bring forth a way to move forward innately in our body, in our mind, in our energy, a way to move forward from a situation or a painful event. Or even if you think about it physically, if you sprain your ankle, if you actually allow your body to heal, you should heal that sprained ankle in 4 to 6 weeks. But what happens when that ankle doesn't heal? What happens when you actually didn't rest that sprained ankle, where you had other chronic illnesses or pain or diseases happening in your body didn't have the resources to put into healing that sprained ankle, so that ankle never completely heals and you forever have this chronic pain in your ankle? That ankle is always weaker. It becomes the place where you are most vulnerable to re-injury. And you never quite trust your body and yourself to do the things you could before that injury occurred. And when that continues for a really long time, you have all of these compensatory side effects. Suddenly you don't walk in the same way, you don't bear weight on your body evenly. So then you start holding your body in a particular way. You start putting more weight on the other side of your body when you walk or run or exercise, or you avoid those activities. And then the effects of that on the rest of your life mean that eventually you become disempowered, you don't trust your body, and you feel like there's all these things that you can't do. You can't run around with your kids or your grandkids. You can't go shopping for a long time because it's painful. You can't travel with the ease that you would like to. You don't have the mobility, and you don't have the ease and the freedom that you desire and that you deserve in your life. Now, that's just an example about a sprained ankle, right? And we have people that are living with the effects of a sprained ankle for years and years and years. What about other things? What are all of the different things in your life? What about your beliefs and patterns and compensatory behaviors from relationships gone bad, from not trusting the person you're in relationship with, or having your heart broken, or having an abusive parent, or living with someone who's narcissistic? The effects of this are profound. And so on Friday, one of the things we're going to be doing is looking at all of this and looking at the places in your life, whether you have until now realized it or not, that you are at the effect, or you are in some sort of compensatory cycle in your life or in your body to do with physical pain or emotional pain. And we're going to become aware of it. We're going to clear it. We're going to start to heal it and move forward from it so that you have that freedom, which is the most important thing. That's why we do what we do. That's why we talk about healing. That's why we talk about empowerment, so that you feel free. Because freedom is the one thing that you are here for. You wish and you desire to feel empowered, so that you feel free, so that your life feels like it is yours and it's not based on the effects of everything that has happened to you. So that is what we are looking at on Friday. That is what our focus class is on. It's a 3-hour class. It includes facilitation, clearing. It includes a body whispering session that is so healing, and you will be able to listen to that replay as often as you like. And it will include some home play exercises for you to do, so that pain is no longer something that stops you in your life, and you have a lot more information, education, and awareness around this topic of pain for now, but also for the future. And also for those of you that have children, so that you can maybe start to look at how to create a different future for them with pain. So this focus class, like all of our focus classes, has absolutely no prerequisites, which is another wonderful thing. So you can join no matter who you are, no matter where you are in the world. It's 3 hours, and if you cannot join us live, you will get the audio and video replay. The class will be $99 or $125, depending on where you are in the world. It's not only wonderful value, but it's something that you can go back and use as a resource in your life whenever something painful is going on. So I hope that many of you will choose to join us. I'll post all the links below. And if you do have any more questions, you've got a week or just under a week to decide, or to get back to me or one of our hosts or team members with your questions about this upcoming class. So I hope that you are well wherever you are. I hope that life is not too painful right now, but I do hope that you choose to take this step and become even more informed and conscious and empowered on this topic with me next Friday. All right, so see you guys soon, and take care of yourselves wherever you are.